Okay, your next paragraph is about the setting. Now this could take several different approaches depending what you want to talk about in terms of setting. So this might be one of your smaller paragraphs because I would just pick one thing to focus on and not go in a lot of detail, because I feel like characters and themes and plot is a little bit more substantial than setting. So to start off with, I would again go back to your booklet where it talks about the symbolism, because this is where setting comes into play. So if you go to your booklet here, you'll see towards the back, after the characters, we've got your themes, and then at the end there's something on symbolism where it talks about the river as a symbol. So that could be what you commend Steinbeck for in your review, that his setting acts as a piece of symbolism in the novel, okay? So it's talking about when the story opens, they come to the riverbank, and that's a symbol of retreat from when they were running from weed. Then we tell George, or George tells Lenny that he should return to that riverbank if there's any trouble. And then that's, again, is that safe place. So the setting becomes a symbol for that safe haven. And then that's also what ends the novel, is going back to that. So it sort of brings that circular motion back to the setting. So you might want to use that when you're talking about setting. What you can also talk about is where and when does it take place. So you might want to talk about the social context of the time and it being set in the 1930s. So like this review talked about. So in the United States during the Depression of the 1930s. So maybe you could talk about the novel and its excellent ability to represent a particular time period and place. And you could talk about, the migration of workers and how hard it was for them to find work and all of that context stuff that we talked about at the start of the term. So that was back here in your booklet right at the start. So again, maybe that could be your focus when you talk about the historical context of agriculture during the Great Depression, and that maybe the book does an excellent job of accurately representing this time period. And you could maybe find a quote that helps support that maybe. So it depends on what approach you want to take. So that maybe is what is special and important in the novel. Maybe you just want to focus on, does the author describe locations vividly? If you look at the novel, almost every chapter starts with an excellent description, just like this one. A few miles south of Soledad, the Salinas River drops in close to the hillside bank and runs deep and green. The water is warm too, for it has slipped twinkling over the yellow, da-da-da-da-da. So it has a couple of paragraphs before it even starts getting into the action. So you might want to focus your setting paragraph on Steinbeck's excellent ability to create vivid settings as if you could feel yourself there. So if we quickly skip to another chapter, so chapter 2, again, he started it with descriptions. The bunkhouse was a long rectangular building. Inside, the walls were whitewashed and the floor unpainted, da-da-da-da-da-da. So maybe that's the focus that you take for this paragraph instead of talking about where it takes place. So just pick your focus and what you think you would rather talk about. That one would be another great one that you could pick some quotes to support. Maybe he has excellent use of descriptive language to help create a picture in the reader's mind. So just that's what leads into that next question. Is there enough detail so that the reader can visualise specific settings? You might like to briefly mention both. Maybe that he does an excellent job of representing that agriculture and the Depression in the 1930s, as well as creating a visualisation of that specific setting. Okay, so that's all these tips down the bottom. The significance of where the story opens and ends, his expert use of language to describe the different settings. So that's all the stuff we've just talked about. But just remember, you might not be able to address everything, so just pick your focus and make sure you argue it well. Don't forget to keep that conversational tone going and have a clear opinion on what you're arguing. Okay, so the topic sentence needs to clearly introduce the setting. Make sure it flows on from your other paragraphs, and that you always link back to your thesis at the end about it being a well worth the read, or an engaging read, or he's done an excellent job. You want it to be clear what your opinion is throughout.